and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Sitting in a 4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find the angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a hole. See White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Sanji gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh, Sanji's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Sanji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Soccer Party is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick on the Leaky. You're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Lana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio. That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the aim? They get the aim.
Hello everyone, welcome to North America. Unfortunately, it's a region which I don't consider to be, normal, good, anything like that. But it's got to be done anyway. I am Egta, joined by Thormew today, here to bring you some NA Diamond action. How are we feeling about this?
Hey, if there's one thing we know about NA, it's questionable, and the more so Diamond tier, more chaos. Nothing is organized, so we're probably seeing anything from chaos to more pure insanity.
Yeah, and both those things are exactly what we want. It is midnight where I am. We're in last minute, but you know what? That's cool. This is what we live for. Again, it's what I was saying. I was working on some lore assignments before this, but I had my priorities very much in order because we have 2 teams with 2 very different stories coming into this one. Just doing my research on the fly, looking at the Emerald Eagles. Their match record is looking pretty not great, for lack of a better term. It's been a struggle for them, by the look of things. Of course, would be amazing to see if they can bring anything different. Looking quite the opposite of Solar-Eclipse, who are currently undefeated, have only dropped one map thus far in the regular season versus Emerald Eagles, who, I mean, have dropped all the maps this season. It's definitely been a struggle for them, so there are some clear favourites. Very interested to see how these bans play out here. Again, if you want to make... Sorry?
I was gonna say, 100%, but as we are seeing, the bans are coming in with Solar-Eclipse banning May for this time around, and for those who have joined in, our first map of the night is Antarctic Peninsula, so I'm not too surprised at this May ban pick at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you're denying a mother hen from going into its nest by denying May from Antarctica, but it does take away some of the broad potential on that map. You can still definitely run it. You'll just have to run it with something like a Venture or a Cass or maybe even a Bastion instead. Torb is always still a pretty popular pick. Ana banned out on the side of the Emerald Eagles, so that kind of helps you even more. Those broad compositions can be struck out by the range threat of the Ana, those sleeps from distance, all that damage, and of course the anti-nade, right? You have a composition which is so built around staying together, keeping each other healthy. Well, you know, who cares at all about that when there's an anti-nade from downtown? Not going to be a problem here. Star-studded Solar-Eclipse lineup in the Diamond Division here. Again, completely undefeated, absolutely insurmountable. They've dropped 0 maps, actually. They've dropped 0 maps. That's a hell of a thing.
I thought they just dropped 1, I think, but that was before, I think, the mid-season playoffs, so I think they have a lot to at least continue showing in terms of just the sheer power and to continue, I think, their win streak at the end of the day. But on the other hand, you do have Emerald Eagles who have at least something they want to prove, right? They don't really have the best track record at the end of the day, but hey, if there's one thing that, you know, having a streak of losses does, it provides you more material to at least learn from and get better from. So at least what we're hoping to see is that this Emerald Eagles figures out what they want to do.
It also means that you don't have the expectations on you, right? It means that you know, when you are the #1 team, you paint a target on your back, and that is a title to defend, and anything short of perfection is going to be a struggle. That isn't quite the same when you don't have the target on your back and you are, you know, on the far opposite end of things. You're the least performing team, so to speak. Again, I just want Emerald Eagles to show me something fun, show me something different. This is Diamond tier. It is still unpredictable at the end of the day. Maps can flip on a whim. Are we expecting an Eagles win here? No. If you're a betting man and you put, you know, your entire house on that, then your family's gonna be pretty mad at you. But they could bring out some chaos and they could bring out some fun. And you know what? It's a video game at the end of the day. Why don't we have some fun while we're here?
I mean, exactly that. And if you're Emerald Eagles, your goal really is to show that, you know, that loss streak, no maps released, no maps won, I think, it's just a fluke, right? As you said, these two teams are at the very opposite sides of the spectrum of scores and wins. So if I'm Emerald Eagles, just walking in with like the mindset of there's really no expectations other than to do your best and also maybe potentially take a map from the Solar-Eclipse squad, that says something, right? Because not a lot of teams have taken a map of Solar-Eclipse.
No, yeah. As I said, I did get it wrong earlier. I was looking at the wrong screen, God forbid. There's been 1 map taken off Solar-Eclipse. So, you know, they can bleed, and if it can bleed, you can kill it, as they say in The Predator, which is a wonderful film, and you should all watch. But watch that after this stream, because this is going to be some good content. Going over to Antarctic Peninsula, May and Ana are banned. Pretty interesting ban picks. It always kind of is the case that banning a support or a tank has a lot more impact than banning a DPS, right? DPS, there's another option to play. You ban Widow, okay, I'll play Ashe. You ban Cass, okay, I can play Soldier. You ban, you know, Tracer, I can play Genji. It's all fine. So I am surprised there were no tank bans, because that's how you properly mess up a team. So interesting that the bans have just kind of been tossed out here. But I am even more interested to see what these teams will roll out on.
Yeah, I think for these teams, the May really, as a ban from, I think, the side of Solar-Eclipse, really is potentially the struggle of destroying map rotations might just be one of it. I think that might be the deciding factor at the end of the day. You don't want your map to be redesigned because of a May wall, which is inherently how sometimes May is played, right? If you're going against a hypermobile comp, the wall really doesn't stop or block out people from getting out, but it forces them to take a different path. But both teams are indeed rolling out with this Wrecking Ball on the side of Emerald Eagles, while on Solar-Eclipse sticking to a more bunkier, brawlier type of Ramatra. So we're here to see if Emerald Eagles can create the angles and force out cooldowns from Solar-Eclipse.
Angles is the key word here. That and timing. Those are your two real keys for the Emerald Eagles. You are going to get poked out a fair bit, so you're going to have to retreat. And it seems that Strike's initial strike wasn't able to get a whole lot. And Ohio going to be taken down out of the fight. Genji in a close range situation. A surprisingly good brawler. Not a conventional brawl DPS, but can get it done those close quarters anyway.
Yep, I think those right clicks from Genji does a lot of damage up close and melts the Wrecking Ball in the process, just giving off the picks for everyone else on the team, forcing the Emerald Eagles so these go back into spawn. So no ultimates online for either side, just a few stragglers trying to get that Sojourn, and Reverse manages to do so. As said, no ultimates to work with. Closest is probably going to be that Pharah Barrage that Reverse has been doing a lot of damage, to get in alongside with Hollander's Genji Blades. So those are things to at least keep an eye on, especially with how much damage they're putting in and just the engagements they have with Chippy on the Ramatra.
Yeah, and the Juno helps that as well. Well-timed speed ring can just, make it pummeling time for the rest of the Eagles. That is a good slam that comes out from Strike. It's going to, make Solar-Eclipse bend the knee just for a moment, back all the way up. Getting closer and closer to this barrage here for Revert. You can just go on a bit of a suicide mission if you want to launch it in, but we are going to be having a quick pause while we deal with server issues. Your country is are you North America or not?
I am sadly in North America. Wait.
Yeah.
But for context, okay. I am currently in North America, but I was raised on halfway across the world. I was raised in Asia. So I do not know what the hell is happening sometimes in North America. For the most part.
I just hope you get better soon. So yeah, your region is so massive that you have, Eastern, Central, Western servers. That's crazy work. Why would you even do that to yourself?
I don't know. I really don't know. But it is, and the crazy part is, we have this many servers, right? Or I think we only have 2. But for some weird reason, we all default to Central, even though the players could be on different sides of the continent.
I guess so. It's a hell of a thing, this whole geography thing. But let's focus on Overwatch instead of geography. Wasn't my greatest subject in school. I was more of a history kid. So I have an issue with Emerald Eagles comp, and that is the BAP. Not the BAP player himself. I'm sure he's really cool. Number one, you're running a BAP Juno backline. Where's the protection? Where's the peel? Juno can glide, but nothing like a brick.
Yeah.
Also, you're running a Wrecking Ball main tank. What assistance is that Baptiste giving that Wrecking Ball? Absolutely none.
Absolutely not. I agree with you. And this barrage is going to be online for Solar-Eclipse, but they go in with the Genji Blade instead, looking for that Juno, and that should go out of the way, getting picks on the side of Solar-Eclipse, and that is the clean up. Very economical for Solar-Eclipse, but you are correct that this Baptiste feels very out of place in the overall composition that Emerald Eagles is running, right? You're running something that is slightly more mobile, really wants to kind of take angles and cause disruption from different places. So having a Baptiste kind of makes him a bit more stagnant, really no peel, and I think that's part of the struggle. I would want to see him switch to a Kiriko at some point, to be honest.
And now Vinci is just going to be picked off before the fight's even begun, and then as casual and as nonchalant as possible, you run in with the barrage, just fly on through, and get the point 100 to 0. Only one ultimate used there from the side of the Emerald Eagle. Solar-Eclipse, they still had plenty to spare.
Exactly, and I think a lot of that has just been no space really for Emerald Eagles to build towards the ultimates they need to at least push from that choke. Solar-Eclipse doing a really good job just oppressing that specific angle that they aren't really able to create that really solid engage, especially if you're hoping that your Wrecking Ball gets those slams with strikes. So I think there is a tendency for at least the Emerald Eagles comp to play a bit slower than something brawlier than that Solar-Eclipse was running, and I think that hurt them in the process. But it looks like there are some hero changes made on the side of Emerald Eagles, and I think this composition makes a bit more sense, right? Especially if you insist on playing that Baptiste, which seems to be what Emerald Eagles is going for at the end of the day. Solar-Eclipse, Tippy on that Reinhardt, really just there to brawl it out even further, even better probably than the Ramattra, and hey, they're able to at least pin in and out as easily.
Okay, and Reinhardt's a dive tank as well, apparently. Pins through, gets Ohio out of the match. I do like this composition a lot more for the Emerald Eagles, but you are putting a lot of pressure on Vinci here. They probably can do it, but Vinci basically has to deal with both DPS threats. You need to keep the fire in check, and you need to keep the Genji in check with your shots and your flashbang, respectively.
Yep, and I think part of this is the struggle for Emerald Eagles is I think they want to play this Sojourn also, and there needs to be another way the Sojourn can engage without really stacking on this Orisa, which seems to be the case right now. I think the value of Sojourn gets lost if they're just really sitting behind their other tank when they could take an angle, especially when the Rhine shield only really faces one direction.
Yeah, I completely agree. Ryan wants you to be fighting right in front of him. He's got a big old hammer and even bigger shield. There's no struggle whatsoever. You can see that just by trying to push over and over again into the small choke, Emerald Eagles get routed. Tippy can come back in, swing a little bit. It's a problem when Orion has to look sideways, above, behind, but Vinci is going to be looking into the ground right there, getting sent right back to the spawn room. Hollander's been doing a very good job on this Genji thus far.
Now, Holland, they're looking for the openings, players who are split, and you know, Vienche is really doing what they can to pressure out these two peskier DPS, but I think what I want to see from Emerald Eagles really is to take more angles and disruption, but that shatter is huge from Tippy, just cleaning up everything on the side at the spawn doors of Emerald Eagles. That pretty much how it's going is just go, go, go for Solar-Eclipse, using only one ultimate, and Emerald Eagles just at the back pedal.
And now Solar-Eclipse are on the wall, because that's an ult combo I have never seen before. That is the, like, inverse concussion blast into the shatter. Crazy, you had a barrage right there, mate. You just let your Reinhardt get all the credit. That's crazy play. Strike is now going to go over to the Ramattra, but I feel like if you're struggling playing Orisa into a Rhine, the Ramattra isn't going to be a whole lot better. Rally as well from Solar-Eclipse, reinforcing the blade from Hollander. It's just kind of skeet shooting right now for the members of Solar-Eclipse. That orbital ray, it's just far little too late at this stage. 200-0, utter dominance from Solar-Eclipse. Definitely pulling the wool over the eyes of the Eagles.
Exactly, and in a very solidly clean fashion, Solar-Eclipse take this first map from Emerald Eagles, just really showing dominance of the Brawlers composition that they are running. But Emerald Eagles, though, they are understanding like which tanks at least try to pair up with the Baptiste. What I would want to see them do going into the next map perhaps is if they really insist on playing with the Baptiste, something with an Orisa, I would want to see more angles taken from them. I think the Sojourn loses value just being behind their tank, and I think that would necessitate having the other support go with them. Think of it as like a 3-2 split at the end of the day.
Yeah, most compositions can kind of be boiled down to the fact that you're playing in a split or you're playing in two different units. Of course, you have, say, your maybe Diva, Lucio, Kiri comps, where they're kind of like all-in 5-man dies, but generally you have your backline, your front line, and they should be playing differently. They're two separate units that can play like on separate regions of the map and then still coalesce together to support each other, almost Napoleonic in that sense. But when it is, as you say, your Sojourn is kind of sat behind your Orisa, just spamming out a shield, it's like, brother, you have a slide. you can get to high ground, you can go to an angle. Even better, you can walk to an angle, and then if you get pressured out, then you can just slide away. It's no bother that way. Even if you don't get a kill, you're still drawing eyes, and oftentimes kills are the best thing that you can get in Overwatch, but the second best thing you can get is attention, space, anything to draw your eyes away from the rest of your team, your squishy backline. If you can do anything to just relieve a little bit of that pressure, force the Ryan to turn shield for a moment, force Genji to dash onto you instead of onto your Juno, then maybe that kind of opens up an opportunity. Sitting as 5 in that comp ain't gonna do it.
Right. If you wanted to stick as that 5-man unit running into a Reinhardt, you would have to arguably change the composition altogether, because that composition on its own really doesn't work in that manner. If we're thinking of something that really ends in together as a team, you're thinking of something maybe with a Lucio Kiriko, as you have said, right? With that diva at the end of the day. So we'll see where Emerald Eagles at least wants to do for this next map, at least in terms of their bans, because Solar-Eclipse is looking very strong.
I do like the Emerald Eagles team picture. What does that say, like, on the very top? Man, I'm trying to see this actually. Oh, it just says Eagle landing. Okay. I don't think eagles are meant to land. They're kind of meant to fly, right? I'm no like a bird expert. I'm no ornithologist. Is that a word, ornithologist?
I think that is
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
According to our producer, it is the word for.
We don't have a
birds.
producer. We're just hearing voices.
We're just
in our
hearing
head. We're losing it. Okay, and now producer's reading off a Wikipedia page. Thank you so much. Like you get your information from Wikipedia, mate. What you doing? Anyway, yes, no. So I eagle landing definitely win the picture war, because that is it's a very cute eagle that they have. It's blushing, like it's shy. It's showing like American pride. You know, this is what North America's all about. It's about bald eagles, but bald eagles that are blushing.
Bald eagles that are shy. I like the. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like that's very counterintuitive for how North America likes to perceive its at least posture itself. But what we at least have right now is Emerald Eagles posturing who they want to ban, and I think they have figured out that they are struggling against the Genji, so have banned it in response, maybe targeted based on what they saw in Antarctic Peninsula. But on the side of Solar-Eclipse, who are going to have the next ban, they've decided to ban the Wrecking Ball instead.
No, he has so much swagger. Look at him.
Actually, in that photo, he does. That's actually crazy. But I think part of it, I'm actually a bit wondering why this is the ban of Solar-Eclipse more than anything, especially when our map 2 for today is Paraiso. Normally, I don't really see Wrecking Balls played as often on Paraiso, so maybe this is a pick really to limit potential disruption.
It also means that you can. I mean, I'd say that you can protect your tank pick, but Emerald Eagles banned first. I understand why you banned the Genji. If I had to play against Hollander after that map, I'd like I don't want that Genji anywhere near me, big dog. Like, go away from me, get a life. But the ball. It could be presumptive to say that it might not matter here for Solar-Eclipse. They seemed to deal with it pretty handedly last time. Paraiso, I don't think the map as a whole is one of the worst for Ball, but that first point is, you know, Ball thrives in kind of a healthy middle ground where the map it's not too enclosed, but it's not too open either. Think New Queen Street, right? That's kind of the perfect Ball map. Also, there's mega health packs everywhere, which always helps. Solar-Eclipse are going to make a couple of substitutions, a whole load of substitutions actually. 3 new members. DPS lineup staying the same, but new tank, new support as well. Locos and Synarchy. Synarchy. I should probably have looked that up, but oh well.
Synarchy.
That makes
according
sense.
According to the pronunciation on their team's sheet, it is Synarchy.
Ah,
in
yes. Thank you
RP.
very, very much.
There
Yeah,
we
no, it also makes sense because that's the word synergy, and maybe this team is gonna have some synergy. Am I right? Sorry, I had to make something out of that.
You really did, but
I don't like
I
myself for that either.
but I'm thinking really we saw that whole list of substitutions from the Solar Eclipse team. They really do have a deep roster. I think they have a total of 9 players at the end of the day. So it seems that whichever um I think the tanks have their own specialties, hence the substitutions, right? We saw Tippy coming out first with brawlier types of tanks, but you don't really play something like a brawl on Pirate Isa with lots of high grounds. You want something that's a bit divier or something that at least manages to do poke from a long distance. So these substitutions make sense if you're looking at hero pools, comfort picks. So one of the more interesting things I'm seeing is this Mercy pick. Rarely do we see Mercies gets chosen as the main support selection on for teams. So this is something that I guess they're relying on the immense damage value of Rivers, who already gets Artiseal in the process.
Yeah, I don't like the Orisa here. Maybe that's a bit blunt of me, but this is a tough map to play anything not dive on, as you say. Winston or Diva are your best bets. Ball can work, but unlike the Diva or Winston, you don't have any kind of shielding. You don't have a bubble, you don't have a defense matrix, and that big open space of the first point sucks. When you get to second, third even, it's not as bad, but first is a big struggle. It's a big wall even at the best of times to get through. That point is brutal to attack into. One of the worst to attack into in the game, in my opinion. So a Winston or a Diva is kind of like mandatory. Even a Hazard, possibly, something that can get onto high ground. Orisa, what do? I mean, the only way I see this working is that you speed through force point because Orisa has good point presence. But like once you get there, well, there's still a DPS boosted Ashe and Echo. Arna's free to land anti-nade all day long. You have to put the enemy team on some kind of clock. If you just kind of walk into them over and over again, you're dead.
Yeah, and just looking also the composition wise, there really isn't anything providing speed besides Artiseal on this Juno, but the ring really has limited potential. You do need to play something that speeds your whole team through.
This is better.
This is indeed better. The Sigma of Strike at least has the shield, denies the poke coming in from Rivers, who's boosted by this Mercy, and that gives you some breathing room and for you to push through. But this is kind of wonky because you do have that maze, so you really want to start pushing once you force out a wall, and that's exactly what they should be doing now, pushing, taking this low ground, maybe clear out the high ground slowly or in the process. But you don't want to have all this high ground given to Solar-Eclipse, especially with the composition that they're running.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. Again, Diva, Winston still a bit preferable here. Strike, you have a shield. You can't just walk forward into those sightlines and expect to live for that much longer, and you're not going to be able to do it. You overstayed your welcome there massively. Solar-Eclipse. The damage-boosted Ashe can be a bit of a trap, but it's one that Emerald Eagles are getting snared in right now.
I think what I would want to see Emerald Eagles switch up a bit is, they're playing this Diva who does want to be a bit more forward, right? Trying to pressure out your more stagnant backline. I would want to see maybe the switch to a Brig who that at least provides AoE heals, even if... Why was Artiseal there? Anyways, you'd hope you have at least a Brig who at least you'd make the brawlish kind of poke work a bit better, and you could still do the healing even when there's a defense matrix in front of your face. Now, this necessitates at least clearing this high ground, which Emerald Eagles have been at least struggling to do, and a Bob's already committed by Reverts for putting poke damage onto everyone else, with already Cloud Lemon just further going in with the help of this Bob to get a few more stragglers in, and this is going to be even a further stagger onto a whole Ohio.
The Bob is on the bus. Everyone sound the alarm. He's staring into our spawn room. That's crazy work. And that's the one ultimate use for Solar-Eclipse. They still have a full bank of things to work with. You look at it on the Emerald Eagle side, they've only charged up to a male. Now, granted, Tato, Vinci, and Strike have all swapped, but still, to not have anything to work with at this point, it can be pretty damning, right? Your Blizzard is going to have to be your kind of desperate last-minute option. And now the front line's walking in and they don't have a back line. It's like they tried to walk forward and then they realize, oh, hang on a minute, someone cut my legs off and I can't walk anymore.
Yep, and more so now that your Cassidy is also gone, Sig and May just left, the brutal stagger, 30 seconds left. This is looking very dire. You still only have that May Blizzard at the end of the day, Strike building towards that Flux, but Solar-Eclipse have a whole host of ultimates to work with. 3. Cloud Demon, get out of jail free kind of card. Hollander, same thing. Mercy's probably the only one who probably, if you can kill her right away, not much value from the Valk, but even then, like, Valk is just cosmetic at the end of the day, and Solar-Eclipse going for something more aggressive, copy a Sig.
That is such an early use, and wait, Cloud dies through the Immortality field? With the... I can only assume that Tato wasn't in the Immortality field. There's no other conclusion there. And that's a real rough time there. You know, you dupe up a Sigma for Hollander to flux the other Sigma out of existence while they're trying to flux you. It's a tough time. It's a tough day at the office. Solar-Eclipse, they are reigning champions, and they are showing why they have deserved that title.
Yeah, just very clean defense and execution from Solar-Eclipse, and a lot of it is also just, you know, deciding that, hey, we do have this whole host of ultimates to work with. Decide that only really we need one, right? If that one ultimate gets that pick, creates the space, and we just go in with that ultimate, we're always going to get immense value. Whether it was, you know, Reverts just tossing that Bob on top of the bus, causing everyone, you know, stress on the side of Emerald Eagles, everyone else on Solar-Eclipse just goes in with it. And that's how ideally we should be playing these kinds of gameplays. You go in with that ultimate so that it gets value, more than just really, you know, trying to slow things down. So Emerald Eagles really just struggling at the end of the day. It really seems like there's this disconnect on where they want to play and how they want to play this composition that they're running.
Yeah, and how they're running it is it's intriguing. Solar-Eclipse, speaking of intriguing, I am interested to see... I wanted the Weaver Bastion.
I wanted the Weaver Bastion too.
Yeah, you guys are cowards for not playing it. Again, if you win, a skill issue on their part. If you lose, they were playing something broken, and it's still a skill issue on their part. Now Cloud11's on the Winston, and this is going to be some tough timing. Mercy damage boost in the air. You see all of that damage come through. You don't even need to drop the bubble for Vinci to go down, and yeah, I think that you were kind of just compositionally outmatched there. The Winston on that first point against her Matra is just superior for taking control of that high ground, pushing the members of the Emerald Eagles back, and just like that, in as much time as 40 seconds, Solar-Eclipse going to take that second map, get themselves a bit closer to victory.
Yeah, match point for these two teams, and Solar-Eclipse just really showing that they are, you know, dominant in the NA Diamond division, because these have been just quick fights for them.
This is a struggle. I feel like Emerald Eagles can adapt, but there are a lot of sort of rookie errors happening quite early on. You know, like your Juno dying, you know, 30 seconds after the fight's already ended, stuck in the backline. There's no reason for that to happen. There's no reason to make a bad situation worse. That being said, we can't really take away from Solar-Eclipse. They've shown mastery of their compositions. They've shown their very deep roster. You know, you replace half of it, still able to win, still able to look dominant. Having that much top level talent on your team should be a crime, but it's one that Solar-Eclipse are going to get away with. we're going to be going over to a quick break, see if Solar-Eclipse are going to end this one out quickly, if Emerald Eagles can put up a little bit more of a fight. We're going to be back very shortly. Don't go anywhere. Please don't. I'll take it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Diamond tier of CGL in our regular season. I believe we're in week 7 right now, so we are going to be wrapping up this regular season very shortly. And if you're looking for a championship contender, look no further than Solar-Eclipse.
Yeah, Solar-Eclipse making a really solid run since the start of the CGL season. Only dropping one map, and from the looks of things, that just still might be the same story that they're coming out with at the end of this match. But that is for Emerald Eagles to stop, should they manage to lock in and figure things out. But that is a tall order for them, but something that they can still prove. We are entering at least New Queen Street as our third map and match point map of the night, but Emerald Eagles still need to ban a hero.
Yeah, and this is the Wrecking Ball map. I was actually just talking earlier about what is the perfect map for Wrecking Ball. It's New Queen Street. Because it's a bit open, but a bit closed as well. And banning out the D.Va definitely helps. D.Va is something that can cause ball. It's not like a hard counter, because D.Va can't do anything to stop the slams, the direct engages, the roll-throughs, but, you know, you can't stay in the fight that long, because D.Va is just better at close range. The shotguns, the missiles, they're more effective. Of course, you can matrix all the shots to protect your backliners, so it's almost a neutral matchup, but slightly favored for the D.Va, I'd say. So it makes sense if you want to play the ball to get rid of that. Juno going to be banned out on the other side here. I think that was kind of done by Solar-Eclipse. They put all of the heroes on a dartboard and then just kind of tossed a blind shot, and it was like, okay, we're banning Juno today.
I mean, that could be one of it. The other way we could view it is the fact that Emerald Eagles has solely been running the Juno this whole time, whether it was on Antarctic Peninsula or it was on Paraiso. So they seem to have a solid read at least, that maybe this Emerald Eagles team doesn't really do well in probably does best, or at least has the most practice with that Juno character. So forcing them out of playing the Juno requires them to rethink their strategy, and that just might be the story at the end of the day. Put maybe RTCL into a more uncomfortable position. But back at it again with the substitutions on the side of Solar-Eclipse. They're bringing back Tippy, Itzvert, and Cernius, who did really a solid job on that first map of Antarctic Peninsula, and probably looking to have a replay of that really solid gameplay in New Queen Street. No substitutions for Emerald Eagles.
Yeah, it's getting tippy in here. Solar-Eclipse, they're aura farming at this point, which is very reasonable. I think when you have the opportunity to aura farm, you should. They're showing how flexible their roster is. They're showing the depth that they can reach into their pockets with at ease. If we're going off of some kind of vision, this kind of suggests that they want to play Brawl. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think they can play anything, really, if they put their mind to it. I'm not really worried about the Solar-Eclipse tank player who's in the lobby. I think they'll be doing just fine, because they have the evidence to back it up. They've got maps, they've got matches, they've got titles, and they've got pigeons.
Yeah, Pigeon's really good view of the very scenic space of Canada. Probably the more interesting area of North America as of late. For those who at least want to visit North America, would recommend going to Canada. They do have Egg House apparently over there, and a lot of caffeine if that is also something you're interested in. Unless you're someone who has just taken sleeping pills and wants to sleep already, like our dear Castor over here.
If things keep going the way that they are currently going, then both Antarctic Peninsula and New Queen Street are going to become American maps. I don't make the rules. Sorry, guys. That being said, Solar-Eclipse, they're running out on a pretty standard here. Now, Lucio Bap is kind of the more traditional, like, meta play. But also Moira kind of does the same job just fine. Moira just suggests... Remember earlier we were talking about playing as different units? Moira suggests that you don't really care about that, that you kind of want to play as one big clumped up stack, because that's how you get your value as Moira. Not only do you deal a lot of healing, but you deal a lot of AoE healing. Great wall there from Mahol, Ohio, but where's the follow-up? Ryan was dead to rights behind that wall. Just walk on the man.
Yeah, walking would have been really great for that, but there was no walking from the side of Emerald Eagles, only Tippy managing to tiptoe their way across around the very edge of that map and not falling off even with the wall there. So no ultimates yet online. Tippy halfway through their Reinhardt ultimate. Emerald Eagles, nothing so much. The composition of Emerald Eagles, kind of like unsure of this. I would have hoped that at least Artisil would have been on a Lucio instead. I think you would want something that at least speeds in and out, really engages and gets more value with the walls that whole Ohio is doing, because those walls have at least been locking out Tippy from everyone else on the team. So capitalizing on that would be great, but building towards an ultimate is already Tippy.
At the very least, a Juno, right? Speed is kind of key for your Orisa composition. Those little legs don't mean anything. And you've just given them forward spawns. You've taken one fight so far, and now they have forward spawns. Just go, please! Please, go, walk, do something, please. Just standing here, you're not going to break the stalemate. Eventually, it's another great wall from Whole Ohio has been a bit of a bright spot.
Yeah,
on this map at the very least.
Yeah, manages to at least be capitalized by the team, but VNJ isolated by Hollander on this venture, who pops ultimate from behind, flanking the team, flipping the map, gets at least one with the help of reverts, trying to look for this mercy to close things off, and that is pretty much done and dusted for at least the support line of Emerald Eagles. That wall really isn't going to do much, especially if you're stuck alone. Maybe that trade kind of helpful, but this is pretty much a lost cause with whole Ohio just staggering themselves. Spot's gonna continue moving forward, 4 ultimates to work with for Solar-Eclipse, and these are a lot of big ultimates. You could honestly just cycle through them, hopefully get a huge shatter from Tippy, and that should seal the deal for one fight, but with it now, ooh, this is going to be at least a dicey spot for Tippy to be playing in, unless he manages to get that big shatter. High Noon on the high, gets 1, maybe 2 deflect online, decides that is not the place. VNJ doesn't get anything, goes back down.
Yeah, now you're forced on the high ground, but Honda just drops into your crosshairs. Solar-Eclipse thinks that this is turnable, and I mean, they're gonna try it. They invest a sound barrier and a shatter into this one. Blizzard, Tippy not quite able to escape, tried to pin away. That window was, that window was all hatred. That window was hatred.
That was targeted. We all know that was targeted at the end of the day. Really just trying to seal the deal, but this is a very interesting setup now from Emerald Eagles. I think there was maybe some struggle with playing that Orisa, so Strike moving over to the Wrecking Ball already has the mines to work with and just stuffs the front, splitting Tippy from everyone else.
Yeah, I really like the Wrecking Ball here. There's nothing on the Solar-Eclipse comp, and I mean nothing that could disrupt you really or CC you. That being said, there is a cyborg ninja with a big ass sword in the backline, and that has caused problems before. Happened at my 18th birthday party. I do not recommend that experience again.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be. I don't think you should ever recommend slicing and dicing for an 18th birthday celebration. But if you are Solar-Eclipse, you will take that for a celebration. Now that you also at least still have that Venture Ultimate online, and for Emerald Eagles, VNJ yet again with this High Noon could be there to just displace things, but that's a huge kill onto whole Ohio. That's a down person for Emerald Eagles and creates an opening for everyone to push.
This Mercy is shameless in wanting that res, and Hollander even more shameless by laying the tectonic shock, giving a little bit of a geology lesson to the Emerald Eagles, definitely bringing them back down to earth for the time being. You have an annihilation to reinforce yourself on the point here for Solar-Eclipse, but it's not going to be worth a damn thing. Touch, able to come through, just barely. Strike TV needs to get here on the Wrecking Ball. The ball's your best answer to the Solar-Eclipse composition, but the sun will be setting on the Eagles here. Solar-Eclipse taking a clean 3-0 and remain undefeated in the regular season.
Yep, undefeated, map wins, map losses, still at the same. If you're Solar-Eclipse, you're happy that your stats still are the same. Nothing really has changed, and you could things go walking away with this scene. Hey, we can play the specific compositions that we've been running into teams like this. So for them, maybe it is aura points at the end of the day, but great job for for Solar-Eclipse to really, hey, sealing the deal.
Yeah, and Hollander's going to get my unofficial player of the match award. Instantly came out on the Genji, and then Emerald Eagles looked at that and said, "We do not want any of that smoke," and then immediately got him off the Genji. Still ended up performing on the Echo, then ended up performing on the Venture. Like it's kind of too easy, you know. The DPS stayed in the Solar-Eclipse lineup for the entire match, so that kind of makes sense. We are going to have an interview soon with one of the Solar-Eclipse players, so we're going to go to a short break, and when we're back, we'll have them right in front of us for you, for your listening and viewing pleasure. So thanks very much, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Yeah. 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 Memories. Memories. Yeah. Memories. Memories.
Hello everyone, welcome back from the break. We have just seen an absolute blowout here. Solar-Eclipse, never really in doubt, taking the Emerald Eagles to school. Emerald Eagles, they got a couple of fights to do Queen Street, but let's be honest, it was almost a foregone conclusion. And we have a very special guest from Solar-Eclipse, one of the support players. It would be Vert. How are we feeling about the big win?
Feeling really good win, really good team.
Yeah, really strong team. So you guys are champions already, right? So to ask about the team, how long have you guys been playing together for? And I mean, how long do you intend to keep playing together for?
That's a good question. We are coming up on a year. We played in the last CGL season, I think in August, so it's almost been about a year. We started before, obviously, like, trialing and stuff like that. So it's been about a year. And really we plan to play as long as we're able to. Some of us are gonna be moving up to Masters after the season. Some of us are going to stay down. It kind of just depends, but really excited for this team. We're kind of just playing where we are right now, though.
Yeah, and I think that definitely showed in the match up today, just playing to your strengths and as a team. But I know I know Solar-Eclipse won at least the mid-season playoffs. So based on your run and looking at the other teams in the NA Diamond division, is there any team that you want to be playing, you want at least experience playing against?
There are a lot of really good teams in this league that we've had the opportunity to play, like Lunar, really good team. Cuddle's a really good team. One team we haven't gotten a chance to play yet is Death Blossoms, and they talk a lot of smack, so I think that'd be a really fun game.
I'm looking forward to it. Got to be an absolute content machine, am I right? Obviously, you guys have been playing together for quite a long time, and the results speak for themselves. Mid-season playoff champions, undefeated record thus far. Only one map dropped in the regular season. Knowing that this is still Diamond tier, what do you think about your team sets you apart from the other teams, which is leading you to so much success?
Man, you guys are rocking with the questions today. Um,
What we get
to be
paid for.
honest, I think a lot of teams just don't practice or care the way that we do. Um, like there's been scrims where immediately after we're looking and we're self-voting ourselves and where we've brought up maps, like, and we look at the layouts and we look at where we want to go and how we want to play it, stuff like that. There's just a lot of things that we do that I know for a fact other teams don't, and I just don't think other teams care as much as we do. And I think that's what comes down to it. And you know, I've said before, I'll say it again. There's levels to it, and I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I think the whole concept of just really self-vodding or even just vodding like scrims and even lost maps. I know that you guys lost one map and you probably vodded that in the process. Really helps hone the team play and knowing at least what you want to do in a specific map. But moving from there, right? You do have those self-vods and everything. Is there anything that you would want to improve? Is your the group? I guess what is the team's goal right now on something to improve on?
Well, obviously, our main priority right now and what we're focused on is winning the rest of the season, finishing strong. But it's going to take a lot to do that because there's a lot of really good teams. I feel like we've gotten a lot of comps and strategies down, but the main thing that our coaches have been, talking to us about, that we've been talking together as a group, is just fight planning, fight planning, fight planning. Being in constant communication. When we're doing so well, it's easy to fall out of that, and when we play like really good teams, they'll catch us on it. So we just got to be constantly working on that, improving on that, moving forward.
Yeah, constantly working, constantly improving. I definitely like the mindset that your team has. Final thing I wanted to say, you've got anyone that you wanted to shout out? Still undefeated, still very much on top. Anyone that you want to credit that success to?
I want to personally thank Coach David for the support VODs he gives me. I would not be as good of a player as I am without him. That is my GOAT right there. Secondly, we debuted a new tank today, Tippy. He's a huge pickup for us. We had some issues with our other tank. He had to take a little leave, and so Tippy's been filling in there, and he was great for us today, as you saw. And obviously, shout out the entire team, everyone on it, all the supports, DPS, tanks. Everyone does a great job week in and week out, and I wouldn't want to play for any other team.
That's amazing. Yeah, it sounds like you've got a very close-knit team there, and you're going to have continued and renewed success. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you go celebrate with the rest of your team. Again, phenomenal performance, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And, I mean, that was a blowout. I wish there were some fancy way to dress it up, but that was, one team here, one team here. Emerald Eagles, they have a lot of things to focus on. I think they can. I think they truly have the potential to do so. But, this was a bit of a foregone conclusion. We knew how this matchup would go the moment that we, loaded in, saw those scores, saw those championships, and it was like, well, you win some, you lose some. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, and if there's really one thing that Emerald Eagles could at least take away from, the blowout at the end of the day, is really there are comps that they need to work on, especially in terms of rotation at the end of from how it seemed like. There's a lot of material to work on and at least to figure out what to do, because if there's one thing that's the Solar Eclipse has at least shown us, is that VODing and at least learning from scrims, from maps, really helps. And it will improve your gameplay. And I think that's something that Emerald Eagles should at least tap into, is how do we improve from this loss?
Yeah, I mean, there's an element of it where it's like, okay, we're Diamond Tier in a tournament. You've probably got many other things happening that aren't Overwatch, which you would like to dedicate your time to. Maybe you're in law school, maybe you want to get a degree, maybe you want to save the world. There's a lot of things, but giving a little bit of time to, practicing, VODing, all of that stuff, it really does go a long way. And I think Solar Eclipse are absolutely proving that. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Thor, for joining me today. Thank you to Echo Producing and Orange and the Bakery Observing as well. It's been a hell of a matchup. Pretty one-sided, but that's what we're here for. Was there anything that you wanted to say before we headed off?
Honestly, for everyone who dropped by, hey, thanks for dropping by and at least watching the stream, but that is pretty much for us. 2 more matches tomorrow, at least in potentially the EU and the NA, so there is still more CGL coming up this week tomorrow. So for everyone else who is at the stream watching, hope you have a great night, and hey, get some sleep.
Lots of love. Love. Got lots of love. Love. Got lots of love. Love.